And then you were talking about the subconscious. If you're really relaxing, your subconscious and your conscious becomes very close to each other, and it's easy to move between the two.
Yes, it's like it's that moment almost like just before you fall asleep, where you are so relaxed, and you sometimes get the most amazing ideas that pops up. Or that moment
And then
just
we don't
before
write
you
them down,
Yes.
and then we think we'll remember, and we
you
don't.
don't. Yes. And or in the morning when you wake up and you just come through that subconscious up to the conscious, and you have this brain wave, and it just comes out of nowhere, but it's been there all along. So it's just unlocking what is already there. And that's why we work with something called the resource state.
Oh.
Because there's always been some areas in our lives where we were resourceful,
Absolutely.
where we could figure something out.
It's that flow, it's that moment.
Yes.
And then we all strive, like, what happened? How come I can't access that anymore? You know what I mean? I need it now.
So in that beautiful space where you are in a safe space, in a safe environment of your own making, where you can tap into your resources, what's already there, where you have been successful in your life, where you have been able to make breakthroughs and achieve things that you did not think possible.
So it's not something coming from outside.
No,
It's you developing what is already within you.
It's actually
Or
more than
accessing.
developing, it's unearthing, you know.
And accessing that.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that is so powerful. Because if, you know, sometimes when people have been told by other people, maybe a horrible boss or a very judgmental
They're normally
parent
vulnerable.
or,
It's normally
or
when they're
teacher
vulnerable.
or something, yes,
When they're in need of something, then they get
the negatives.
and
So-
then that becomes part of
So
it.
that becomes part of the belief system.
Yeah.
So what happens if you go back to a time in your experience where you have been resourceful, and maybe that might not be a conscious moment. Can you remember the first time you ever took your first step?
No, I can't remember that.
But you were resourceful.
Oh, yes.
You
I
did
had to be.
something you never did before. You took your
Yes.
first step.
Exactly.
And it was amazing, and people were blown away, and everybody was
She's done it.
hoo-haing,
Yeah.
you know, going hoo-ha
Well, I know
about
there's
it.
a photo of it, you know what I mean? Because I was shown that later, but I can't remember
you
it. of
can't
course.
remember it on a conscious level.
But subconsciously?
Subconsciously, you can go back into that moment, feel the feeling that you felt, think the thoughts that you felt, and touch base with how resourceful you were at that
age.
moment.
Yes, and at that moment.
And those are the same feelings and thoughts you might need in a totally different situation
Okay, yes.
when you are 48 or 50 or 16
60,
or
yes.
12 years old. So the resources are already there. But being able to touch base, going back to who you really are before everybody smeared all their
It's become
ha-ha
clouded.
on you, you know.
So you can't see it, you can't remember it, yes.
Yeah, so it's becoming clearly you again. Touching with the essence of the beauty you are. And going through that, just seeing how you have these beautiful abilities that you have forgotten, that you can enhance again. And you know what? I've seen it so oftentimes. It's like a domino effect. When people just become aware again of how powerful their beautiful subconscious is and how supportive it is, then amazing things happen throughout their lives. It's just like this domino effect going. And
it just takes that one little tick.
it's just that
then
one
the
little
whole
tick.
thing can then unfold.
Yes.
So it could be one little thing holding someone back, and they
One-
can't understand, but why? And I've attempted this. I'm working hard at that. How come like you say, I'm stuck?
It can be one clouded belief.
One clouded belief, and they might not even be totally aware of what it is.
If you were aware of what it is, you wouldn't have needed to go into that space. Because then you would have been able to change it with thought.
And then willpower would have been a resource as well, because then you could have just thought it willingly and made it happen.
But we often have triggers.
Oh.
And a trigger can be anything. It can be a smell, it can be a sound, it can be something you experience. And it can take you on a very basic level back to a place that was traumatic for you and put you back into those feelings and thoughts without you realizing where they come from.
Interesting.
The beautiful other side of the coin is if you work with anchors, because a trigger is just a negative anchor. But if you work through a process and you can work with a positive anchor, you can create positive triggers in your life.
So instead of it going the way that you don't want, here's the trigger again, here's the stress, here's the situation. Oh my goodness, I know what's going to happen. I won't be able to talk in front of the people or whatever the case.
And then you're lost.
And then you lost. And so, there we go. I knew it was going to happen. What you're saying is now you can replace that.
You can reprogram the brain.
And now it could be actually something that won't be that stumbling block, that you can now build confidence.
It can be your next step.
It
can be your next step up. One of the places that we often see on television where they use positive anchors is in sports.
They do?
Yes. I know there was one high jump lady that did a lot of high jump. I can't remember her name.
You mean with the coaches that are coaching them? They give them...
There's for instance one of the ladies that would do this.
Oh yes,
before she,
and
then she's ready. So that's a positive trigger. So she went through
the
certain
motions,
balancing, and then she goes through the motions in her brain, and she creates before she creates.
So she's got it going up here,
yes.
And then she feels it down here. She's able to actually execute.
That's right. So you kind of almost go ahead of yourself, and you already create in your mind and with your energy where you want to go, because the body goes where the mind and the heart and everything focus in alignment. And if you are not in alignment, then you're in conflict. So if your thoughts and your beliefs and your body is not in alignment, you're stuck.
It's gonna jar.
You're just not going to move. But if you want to start moving, you can kind of break down, and not break down in a bad way, but kind of become aware of where are the places where I'm holding myself back. What are the beliefs that are holding myself back? And if you start becoming aware, you can change it. It's like an alcoholic. You can't go through therapy and rehabilitation unless you get to that point where you can say, this is it. This is my challenge. And only when you can see it, only when you can acknowledge it, can you start to change it. You can't change what you can't see.
So You mentioned a little bit about you do different modalities. So the one was, you're working with the subconscious and the conscious quite closely.
Yes.
And you're bridging that gap between the two, literally, so that the person can actually then not have all these like negative triggers, that they can reprogram the system in order to move forward.
That's right.
What other... how do you equip people? Is it only through working with the subconscious, or
there are so many ways. There are so many ways. If you think about the brain-body system, you have a brain, and it's inside your body.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, and this body is moving in space. You're interacting with things around you. And
gathering data,
building a data bank in your computer, and from there you kind of make decisions and you take action or not action or non-action.
Exactly.
So you can't take the brain and the body and the emotions and the belief systems, all those, and take them apart. They are all, you can identify them and you can work with them, but you can't take any of those away. They're all part of the whole picture. But can you always
access them? This is the thing. Because
yes, they can. You can.
So, but if I'm now struggling on my own, I'm stuck. I've got those parts, but now I'm feeling I'm stuck. It means that I'm somehow not accessing them, like you're saying.
Like when you have back pain and you do exercises to strengthen your core,
and then your back pain gets
better.
Then
the back pain gets better. Now there are exercises that you can do for your brain.
Okay.
There are actually exercises that you can do for your vision. Not only your physical vision, but also your mental vision. So your visualization, what you see and how you see it. So you can look at your physical vision, which is our eyes seeing, this is a glass, I see the glass, and I can interact with it. But if you think about team building and work environments and all, they always say, what is the vision for this group?
Exactly.
And you can actually work with that vision as well by doing some exercises that are built and constructed in a certain way to kind of build like building blocks to get you to where you want to be.
So would you say, like you say, strengthening your core is relieving your back pain? And so do you feel that those pathways are then... or their access to the different parts are then being strengthened through the different things that you do?
Yes. Everything you do have an impact on your body, on your thoughts, on your emotions.
In a positive?
Or a negative, and even your beliefs. Because you build a spiral of belief. Have you ever thought about what it takes to build a spiral of belief to be able to start from crawling to running? Every time you take the next step, you are building your spiral of belief. And you start believing that you can do it. But you don't necessarily think about, I want to run. No. When you start to crawl. You kind of focus on, I want to get to that thing.
Yeah, what is it?
I want to go and explore.
I want to chew it.
Yes.
Because babies are always putting things in their mouth. Yes. It's like, I want that thing. Yes.
And that's part of exploration. And isn't that what we do in life as well? We explore life.
Well, this is the thing. That is what we're supposed to be doing. But through, like you say, all the stuff that's happening, we closing ourselves off. So are we missing out?
You know what? There's a very interesting piece of what's the word? Nachforschung. What's that in
It's
English?
like research?
Research, yes. There's a very interesting piece of research
Okay.
that is coming to the forefront. If you look at things like marketing and all that kind of business strategies
yes.
and all that kind of stuff. And that is that people are no longer spending as much money on products and stuff.
Goodness.
They are looking for experiences.
That
So
is interesting.
if the product doesn't bring an experience,
then why bother?
so people are there's an overload of stuff. There's an overload of information. But people are craving experiences because whether it's a good experience or a bad experience, it makes you feel alive.
Sure.
People are so overwhelmed generally by things that are thrown at them. And they kind of get blunted, and it becomes like you just go through life with blinkers.
Because if you look, then it gets more complicated. So rather just...
Yeah, just focus on this little piece. This is what I can handle. This is the size of my cell phone. This is what I can handle. And whatever goes around here is kind of not happening. Now, if you think traditionally, our world have become much smaller with the cell phones. Because it used to be, this is my world, and whatever goes on here, in the periphery is, yeah. But if you think back, really far back, what has been going on here was where I was safe or not safe.
Interesting.
So what's been happening is our worlds kind of got converted into this small piece of technical
because
wonder.
Numbers are on there. It's everything. It's everything you need.
And you lose all this. You lose this world around you. All these beautiful experiences around you, and the human makeup, your spirit, your whole brain body system craves those experiences.
Yeah.
It's a natural craving to explore, to experience, even though the fear factor is there. The fear factor is there to keep you safe when you explore. But the natural way for humanity to move forward is to explore. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had this information explosion around us. Yeah. Because people want to explore, but they want to do it in safety. And what they often think then is there's safety in being anonymous in this cyber world. But it is not really a real safety. Mm-mm. But when you start moving, when you start engaging with the experience, things change. And your world starts to open up. And then you...
And it's beyond the cell phone.
It's beyond the cell phone. It's beyond
the iPad,
all the screens
the
that
games,
we're busy with. Yeah. And then a world opens up. And it's more real. You don't need virtual reality because...
it's real. It is the real thing.
You see... AI, artificial intelligence, and virtual reality is very prevalent. And it's going to explode even more. It's happening. I see it everywhere. And there are some beautiful things in it, but there are also some very big dangers. But what people don't realize is the more they close down their lives, the easier it is for other people to make choices for them, to feed them with what they want to feed them, so that they don't think for themselves, that they don't make choices that are beneficial for them, but rather choices that are beneficial for whoever is doing whatever kind of marketing. Be it political, be it a product, be it a service. You get fed with so many things that you do not even realize.
And so you're living under the illusion of safety. Is this what you're saying? You think you're safe, but actually...
Yes, and also the illusion of freedom, because you think you've got the freedom of choice. I'm going to serve this and this and this part of the web, and I'm going to learn this and that and that. But in a way, you're losing your freedom to explore the most unexplored part of the universe, your own mind.